push him away, so there he goes. Let's hope everything's sharp. The sole driver getting ready to jump in. What a start to the Jury's O'Dell Cup 20 International Rally.
For James McDade, it is not a very happy beginning to the start of the 6th round of the Tarmac Championship. The Jury's Cork 20 is the penultimate round, and for Billy Coleman in the Rothmans Metro 6R4, it is vital to keep his Tarmac Championship hopes alive.
It's been a season of, some mechanical problems for me, but on the other hand, it's been a very interesting season as far as I've finally got to four-wheel drive rallying, which is what I was waiting for a couple of years, and it's been very exciting in that sense, getting to know this exciting Metro. But as you say, there have been a few disappointments here and there. Sometimes I think I was driving a bit too much against the odds, particularly at Easter time when I was short probably about 100 horsepower. And,
well, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that you can still win the championship, so what's the plan for your home rally?
Well, this is motorsport and anything can happen, as we've seen so many times before, and there's still 2 rounds to go. There's not a huge difference in points, so I'm certainly playing for it still.
Austin Mchale, winner here last year and back to Cork with a fairly comfortable lead in the STP Championship. Obviously you hope to tie the whole thing up this weekend.
Yes, Ben, we'd like to tie the whole thing up. We need actually to win the event to win the championship outright. Of course, the pin on Cyril Bolton. If Cyril finished second to us, we still wouldn't have the championship won, but it would be nice to win Cork 2 years in a row. We have run it 2 years previous, and we'd like to try and get 3.
Well, Cyril Bolton, you're still looking for your first win in the championship this year, but you're finding yourself in 2nd place, and it's quite possible that you could actually win the championship. So what do you intend to do in Cork? Are you going sort of flat out for a win?
I think we're going to go and try and stay up there, certainly, yes. It's going to be the only way to try and win the championship, I think, to win the event.
You've had a look at the stages, I presume. Are they going to suit the Metro?
Well, I don't know, some of them are very tight, and unfortunately we haven't got power steering on this car at the moment, so it makes it a bit like hard work.
Frank Meaher, seated number 4, and recently back from Cyprus as a member of the Irish rally team. That was quite an experience.
Well, we're totally exhausted from the rally itself. It was extremely, very good event, and we just came back towards the night and got 1 night's sleep now and we're ready to start this morning.
Frank, now you're in an RS 1800 Escort. It's a bit of an outdated motor car. What realistic chances do you have here in Cork?
Well, I reckon the only chance I have is if the more modern Group B cars opt out. The only chance we have, about we'll settle then for 4th or 3rd place like last year.
Eddie Colton, rallying of course is much more than just about the overall winners. You're in for the very strongly contested Group A class.
Yes, this year in particular, people are paying a lot of attention to Group A because we're hoping that next year the all-important group will be Group A. Rallies will be won and lost in that class because, by the looks of things, we won't have any Group B or supercars.
Supercars don't come any more super than the Metro 6R4. But this kind of mechanical sophistication can bring problems. The engine management system of the Rothmans car is about to hiccup. But Cyril Bolton's Metro is in fine form. But where is Austin Mchale? He is late on stage 1. Frank Meaher has also had some scares with oil pouring onto his brakes. Donegal man James McDade, after his early assistance, is now flying. And Donny Keating, who is almost a local in these parts, can always be counted on for a good performance on the Cork 20. The Wexford winner, Billy Connolly, is a very much on-form driver these days. But English visitor Mike Patterson is surprisingly off-form in his Escort RS 1800. Dan Daly in the Nissan 240 RS stakes his claim as the top northern driver. And inside Frank Fennell's Aircell Dealer Opel Team Ireland Cadet, one of the top Group A contenders, Tom Callaghan, settles into the pace notes.
And absolute crest 40, slight left, 100. Fast right into easy left. And slight right, 100. Fast line, absolute crest 40, slight left.
Only 4 miles of the first stage have been completed, and as always, the in-car camera is never short of drama.
No, she's still got power.
The phone is on, still got power. Hold on, did I get a kick there?
The phone may be working, but the ignition is burnt out, and they now suffer the ignominy of the tow rope. I'm afraid it's a distress call from Frank Fennell. At Rathcormac's service, just down the road, the true drama of the early stages unfold. Billy Coleman explains.
The engine computer packed up on the first test, and we've replaced that, and she's gone fine now on the last one. So I think we've cured the problem.
How much time have you lost?
4 or 5 minutes, I think. But we should be able to make that up, I think.
But it's going to be quite hard work from here on in.
Well, there's nothing like a good challenge, so let's get stuck in.
Austin Mchale, there's been very major drama on the very first stage. Both Billy Coleman and yourself seem to have been in problems.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Billy had, but we had a major problem. The fan belt broke about 2 miles into the first stage, and took the oil belt off the oil pump as well, so we dropped oil pressure, and we stopped straight away. So unfortunately we didn't have a spanner to fit the oil pump to get a belt back on, and we've dropped some of this over 7 minutes. But you know, even more worrying than that now, we have the engine is down on oil pressure. We're down about 25 pounds oil pressure, and I think we have bearing damage done. So at this stage, it's not looking very good.
Still, after 2 stages, I don't think you'd mind me saying you're possibly the surprise leader.
Yes, I'm surprised myself actually, but it's unfortunate for Austin was off early in the stage. He was just pulled off on the right, stopped, and Billy was cruising out. So I would think with the time that we did, yeah, we'll be in the lead. But Billy's out of the stage anyway, so hope he sorts the problem out.
So the tarmac championship battle's still very much alive.
It's looking alive at the moment, certainly, yes. Yeah.
Derek Irvine makes a slight blunder as he nearly forgets to check the Bolton Metro out of the service area. However, worse is to come, as this is the last time we will see the Presspart Metro. A broken cam belt will sideline them on the very next stage. Bill Connolly and Tony Meany now take up the front running, although James McDade did taste the top for a brief moment before brake problems. Donny Keating and Dermot O'Gorman are now second, a mere 20 seconds behind, and trying very hard to close that gap. Dan Daly and Pat O'Donnell have leapt up to 3rd place in the Print and Design Nissan. But they in turn are being caught at a furious rate by the recovering Billy Coleman and Ronan Morgan. The Metro is 4th in 4 stages. It has made back 90 places. Such is the colossal difference between the professional teams and the clubmen these days. James McDade and Rory Kennedy complain of a lack of confidence, but it certainly doesn't show here. Despite an earlier brake problem, they are now 5th, whereas Frank Meaher and Trevor Hughes have had a further delay due to a puncture in stage 6. The Tipperary pair are now in 6th place overall, but they face a long battle back up the field. Just like Austin Mchale and Ronan McNamee. But these two are making similar headlines to Coleman. The Shell Manta 400 has come from last to 7th place in just 4 stages.
Well, Bill Connolly, I think perhaps slightly to your surprise, you find yourself in the lead.
Absolutely, yes. We never anticipated that we'd be in the lead, but that's rallying. And,
there's a fair bit of work going on in the car now in service. Is there a gearbox problem?
We had a problem on the last special stage with the gearbox. We couldn't get first gear, and then it would come. So we were getting ready to change the box, but it turns out that it's a circlip has moved up and there's a selector problem. So we think we have it solved.
So what's the plan for the rest of the day now? Can you stay in front?
I doubt it. But we'll keep plugging in there. With Billy Coleman behind us, I don't think we have much chance of staying there. Then you never know, maybe he'd have another problem.
Special stage 7 near the village of Ballyhooly, and it quickly becomes obvious to the crowds that the Rothmans Metro has left those early problems far behind. Austin Mchale may not have regular co-driver Christy Farrell in the passenger seat, but Ronan McNamee is proving to be an excellent stand-in as they charge back up the field. Not so happy is Donny Keating. After a good start to the day, his Escort is starting to smoke ominously. Unfortunately, the beginning of the end. But Frank Meaher is pushing his Escort to the absolute limits of its power in an effort to stay near the top of the leaderboard. And the Manta 400 of Donegal man James McDade is really motoring. For this event, Cork driver Frank Mahony has hired the unique rear-wheel drive Orion built by Sidney Meeke in Dungannon. It's taking him time to get used to it. With the demise of Frank Fennell, the battle for the less powerful Group A cars has developed into a great tussle between the Peugeot 205 of Ed Coulton and the distinctive yellow Sunbeam of Richard Hall and Raymond Hill. Coulton holds the edge. While in the near-standard Group N class, David Wright and Leslie Fannin lead the way in their Opel Team Ireland Cadet. Liam McGrath didn't intend his Escort to be air-cooled, but the bonnet flew off after a big bump and the car ran over it. He didn't stop to pick it up. Regular visitor to Ireland Mike Pattison is still going in the Ears Escort. The problem with the throttle linkage cost him 8 minutes. But you can't see Frank O'Mahony for dust as he begins to get a grip on the Meeke Orion. The Opel Team Ireland Corsa of Seamus Murphy leads its class in spite of a slight miscalculation. And so the cars head back to service in Castle Lyons, and a chance for the crews to relax, at least for a few minutes. And for stars like Ronan Morgan, there's an opportunity to sign an autograph or two, and also sort out a timing problem for team boss Dave Campion.
Okay. Right, from where?
Well, they don't I can't make them stand up at all the way you have.
Alright, from stage, what? 10:33, 8:05, 10:08.
10:08.
Now,
sorry,
that is the query on that time there, right? Yeah. We reckon on the next time round, we were kind of 10:39 and Austin was 10:49. Now, we do reckon that the marshal made a mistake the first time round on that time. So the correct time there should be 10:38.
Billy Coleman, you seem to be making a habit of this. It was a bit like this in Donegal when you had early problems and fought your way back. But now it seems to be going according to plan.
Well, not by design, Plum. This car doesn't seem to like being rested overnight. Three successive rallies now. We've gone out in the morning and it's given problem in the first stage, but it has, you know, it's making up for it, I think.
Is it running perfectly now?
It's running very well now, yes. So in fact, I think we're almost in the lead at this point. We've made up most of the time. So just hope now that she doesn't act up again tomorrow morning.
Austin, when we last spoke to you, you were very worried about the condition of your engine.
Yeah, we were still actually worried about it, but it's holding together. We still haven't dropped any more oil pressure, and we're not revving to full revs. We're dropping about 1,000 revs. So it's holding together so far. It's not getting any worse, so we're happy enough. Keep our fingers crossed and we hold out for the weekend.
So it's a pretty spectacular climb up through the field.
Yeah, I think at the end of the first stage we were last, we were 125th. I think we're up now to about 4th. Hopefully there's 2 stages left. By tonight we might get up to 3rd.
James McDade, as ever with the cup of tea in your hand, but I think you deserve a little nerve calmer at the moment. You had a very big moment out there.
They had on stage 4 was over a jump and so the suspension bottom and broke the bleeder out of the left-hand brake caliper, and we found the brakes going soft on a couple of high-speed corners before that, but then the chance we were just coming into a hairpin and we had the car fairly well slowed. The paddle went to the floor.
Completely gone?
Completely gone, we overshot to get the steering.
Well, that's the moment that every rally driver fears most.
So we got it fixed temporary now, but we sort of lost confidence of it on the brakes.
Frank O'Mahony, it's a long time since you've sat in a rally car.
It is indeed. It's nearly 2 years, about a year and 9 months since I was out last, and I think that was the West Cork, and I didn't sit in the car since then this morning.
So things are a bit rusty, are they?
They are indeed, very rusty. They're well off the pace this morning. We're getting quicker, but very slowly. We're coming back on the pace, and we're also getting used to the car. I didn't drive it until this morning, so Sydney just changed the front springs there 2 stages ago, and it seems to be handling much better now in the front. So we're hoping that we can keep it together and maybe get a bit quicker for tomorrow.
Eddie Colton, you've really been wringing the neck of this little Peugeot in the Group A category. You must be doing well.
We're very pleased with ourselves. We've had a few massive times now today. We're up with guys like Frank Mahony that we didn't think we'd be anywhere near their times, and we're having a great dice now with Richard Hall, who has sort of beaten us on 2 of the last stages by a few seconds. So we went and took another 10 off just for good measure.
The two Ronans, Morgan and McNamee, remain friendly rivals in spite of the competition between the Coleman and Mchale camps. The Coleman co-driver is more worried about fog reports on the last stage.
I have no idea how bad it is. We do have pace notes, so we've got some idea of where we're going, but it's going to be the same for everyone. But no matter what, fog is always very frightening, because you're trying to go as quick as you possibly can, and you just don't really know what you're doing.
The pain of rallying is shown graphically on the blistered hands of David O'Sullivan from Clonmel, while Richard Smith from Belfast seems to fear the worst in his Sunbeam. Joanne Simpson is one of only 7 lady competitors.
Tom Bryan, it looks as though you've had a big accident. What happened?
We rolled in Ballyhole and the left hander coming down the hill.
An exciting moment?
Yeah. We got a warm in the first and second time. We didn't take it.
Bill Connolly isn't going to make it easy for Coleman to retake the lead, but his Red Mill Chevette can't match the Metro muscle. As Coleman blasts off into the fog, he's confident that the next 12 high-speed miles will see him back in front. Connolly is slowed by the fog and loses the lead, but he's still 1.5 minutes up on Mchale. And Coleman finishes a remarkable day back where he started, at number 1. But the jury's Cork 20 still has a long way to go.
Sunday morning, and Billy Coleman is 5 miles from home, yet he is not calling on his reserves of local knowledge, instead preferring to preserve the Metro. Austin Mchale does a spectacular loop of 3 stages in the hope of putting some pressure on Coleman, who is now 3 minutes ahead. In the process, he has overtaken Bill Connolly. Connolly's problems are further compounded as his gearbox is playing him up, and he will complete the next stage in 4th gear, whereas Frank Meaher is moving ever closer. He is just 1.5 minutes behind. Dan Daly is fairly isolated in 5th place. Richard Hall in the car parts Sunbeam has got the Group A lead. Colton is missing. Meanwhile, in the Macroom service area, the Rothmans mechanics, watched by an anxious Ronan Morgan, get stuck into a precautionary gearbox change on the Metro. This highly complicated task is completed in as little as 21 minutes. But it's not all hard work in the jury's Cork 20, as attractive Isle of Man visitor Joe Simpson tells us.
I enjoy it. I like the speed. I like going down a road knowing nothing's coming the other way.
Have you had much experience in rallying?
I've been running for 6 years. Yes. Doing the Manx, mainly. And we've both been to Belgium and done the Circuit des Ardennes over there. Last
First visit to Ireland?
Can I just give a time? 15 minutes.
First visit to Ireland?
Yes, first visit to Ireland. For me, but not for my driver. He was doing Cork here last year and he did Killarney last year.
Beautiful blondes of all ages watch Billy Coleman get closer and closer to that 6th Cork crown. The Mill Street Maestro is so much in control that he can afford to allow Mchale to take 20 seconds out of his lead. Bill Connolly is a worried man, and so is our cameraman, as he overcooks it in an effort to stay ahead of Frank Meaher. Meaher is ever closing, and the gap is now down to just over a minute. Seamus Murphy is having a glorious time in the dealer Opel Team Corsa. He leads his class, while the 2 Tipperary men, Sean White and Henry Hogg, demonstrate 2 very different ways to keep the verge trimmed. Munster Motor Club's safety standards are generally excellent. However, it can be a thankless task at times. By the time the ladies' leaders, Louise and Cologne Nolan, arrive, the road is clear. But for former Group A leaders Ed Colton and Frank Scanlon, it's the end of the road.
We decided this morning we were going to have a go at Richard Hall, and unfortunately we paid the price. We had a big roll on the first stage. The car is pretty badly damaged.
Frank, talk us through it. What was it like sitting in a car that was rolling?
It wasn't too bad, really. It was all over quite quickly, you know. We came into a square, right, and a little bit greasy on the road. Ed had to use the handbrake. Back of the car hit the wall, through the front into the same wall, stood up on our nose, rolled gently over on the roof, and we ended up suspended upside down. The Australian perspective.
Martin Daly's spectacular style on the now damp surface has got him into the top 10.
Suddenly, with just 2 stages left, a Coleman win is no longer a formality, as Austin Mchale comes through first. The Metro has had a puncture before the start of the stage and is running on the spare, an ordinary road wheel. Although Mchale was 40 seconds quicker than Coleman on the final stage, it wasn't enough. The man from Mill Street has claimed victory number 6 on the Cork 20 by less than a minute and a half. Making up the top 10, Frank Meaher is third in spite of frontal damage to the Escort. Bill Connolly drops back to fourth because a gear stick comes out in his hand. Dan Daly is the top Ulsterman. His Nissan is fifth. Frank Mahony finally comes to terms with the Orion and brings it home sixth. The Escort of David and Gerard Mead started 30th, but finishes 7th, an excellent performance. And there's another fine drive from Richard Hall, Group A winner and 8th overall. Martin Daly's 9th place means there are 3 Escorts in the top 10. David Gould completes the leaderboard. His Toyota is 2nd in Group A. So it's a champagne finish for Coleman and Morgan, and their 3rd victory this season means the Tarmac Championship is wide open again.
Billy, as we so often see in rallying, it's been an absolutely dramatic finish. What has happened to you the last 3 stages?
I had a feeling it might end that way as it started, Alan, and what happened simply was on the 3rd last stage there was a lot of gravel on the road. It was a 3/4 of a mile of unsurfaced road, and I drove very easily over it, but it would appear that we must have fractured the tyre or something and got a slow puncture. So we were waiting to go on the 2nd last, and Frank Meaher very kindly pointed out the way to puncture just as I was about to set off. So we were allowed to change it anyway, and we dropped some time on the stage because we didn't have a proper sized tyre, but apart from that, no problems today.
So it's home and it's won again, Billy. Congratulations. And Ronan, did you think it was all slipping away from you there at the last moment?
Well, it looked pretty dodgy at the time, Alan, but we were just blessed that Frank saw the tyre going down, because it would have put it very close. If we'd started that stage, it would have taken us 2 minutes or a little bit more to change, and then it would have made the gap a little bit uncomfortable going into the last stage. So,
of course, your win here today means that the Tarmac Championship goes right down the line to Killarney.
That's right, yeah, it does. But I'm not quite sure yet whether we're doing Killarney or not. We'll have to wait and see what the bosses say.
Mchale had hoped to clinch his 3rd championship this weekend. Although he still leads, it now depends on the final round in December.
Well, I think in Killarney we're 13 points still ahead, and I think we can afford to finish about 6th in Killarney to win the championship. But as I said earlier, with a rally car you never know, you can stop at any time, and we'll just have to play by ear and see, and go to Killarney and hope for the best.
Frank, you went out this morning in 5th and you're back in 3rd. It's been an adventurous day.
Very adventurous. We tried from the word go, and it took a good bit of time all day off Bill Connolly, and he disappeared on the last couple of stages, but he came to the finish now. We hope he are 3rd anyway.
Well, Dan Daly, the top-placed Ulster driver with a 5th place. Are you happy with that?
Well, reasonably happy, Gary. As I said to you yesterday, we're struggling all weekend with a very tired engine. We've managed to stay out of major bother and get here in 5th place, and I'm fairly happy at that.